right, welcome to our second episode of Sausage Talks with the Common Man. Today we're going to be talking about dental hygiene. We have a retired dental hygienist, as it were, in our midst. So we're going to talk about all the disgusting things that go along with such a weird profession. And we're going to get into why you would choose such an odd thing to do with the majority of your adult life. But before we get into that, our sponsor, of course, as always, Fairfile Milk. Salute. This is the 50% less sugar. As a prior dental hygienist, what do you think?
It's pretty good.
This is dentist approved, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So first of all, your whole title is called a dental hygienist.
Registered.
Oh, pardon me.
It means I'm licensed.
You're not licensed anymore. You're not legal.
Well, when I worked, I was licensed.
Right. But when you extrapolate the root word, hygiene, right? What percentage of, and I did the math, you worked for 30 years?
42.
I'm way off. So, okay, you're way over 100,000 cleanings you've done in your life.
Probably.
Yeah, not probably, I did the math. If you worked an 8-hour day and you did, I think I did the math of 6 a day, 30 a week. I did 30 years, but 42. Yeah, you're well over 100,000 people's mouths you've been in. Now, many of those people multiple times because they were return customers. But so when you think of that and you go inside the concept of dental hygiene, what percentage of those people, when they came to you, were like, this is one hygienic mouth already. I don't really have to do much now.
25%.
25%. So 75% of people are walking around with just rotten mouths, just disgusting crap going on, really.
Yeah.
And how soon after they leave your chair do they go right back to being that 75%? Within a couple days?
Oh, within a day.
Because they're not flossing, right?
Correct.
Flossing is the
And
most
brushing.
right. But flossing is the underrated beast here, right? It's the white elephant in the room nobody talks about.
Yeah, but a
Because it
lot of
sucks
them
and it's
don't even
annoying.
brush.
Right. What are your feelings on water picks? Great, I know, right? Yeah. Why do you think we don't have more of water picks? Especially with the fact that we've got so much technology these days with, batteries and things that are portable and rechargeable. I remember everybody shaving with their face with rechargeable stuff. Why do you think water picks, they take the work out of brushing your teeth. Why do you think they don't have a better standing when they did 50 years ago?
Well, no, it doesn't replace brushing your teeth.
No, it doesn't, but it helps out a lot with the brushing.
But it costs. People don't want to spend the money. You give them a water pick, they might use it.
Do you feel like,
I have one.
much like Johnny Appleseed, you could start a foundation whereby you would give Americans water picks? Do you think that would take root?
They wouldn't use it. Most of them
So
wouldn't.
it would be-
They all floss. They're not going to pull this thing out and use it.
Well, you don't pull it out, you leave it on the table. All right, fair enough. Did you, when you were deciding what to do with your life for money, did you think this through? And what I mean by that is, did you realize how much nastiness you would be getting into?
No.
You didn't consider that at all? That's kind of like a surgeon not realizing, I don't like blood. You know what I mean? Like,
I did it because you make more money than being a dental assistant.
but why would you even want to be a dental assistant? Like, what was the impetus?
It's a job, and I
know it's a job.
I got offered the job, so I did it. And my cousin was one, so I thought.
Oh, so your cousin. Okay. So your cousin gets you into dental hygiene. Next thing you know, you got flying particles and blood going all over your face, and you're like, what have I gotten myself into?
She only got me into assisting.
Oh.
I got the interest in hygiene.
Okay. Well, because when you look at a dental assistant, you think plebeian, serf. Like you're
Suction.
Yeah, right. Hand me this, suction that. What could we not train simians, apes to do dental assisting?
Well, they do a lot more now.
Don't take up for them.
No, but they do a lot more than I was not allowed to do.
What do you mean?
Like I couldn't take impressions. That
I
got
think
legal.
I could train a monkey to take impressions.
But it wasn't legal, I'm saying. My dentist wouldn't let you.
I'm just saying a dental assistant is right up there with somebody that like holds a door in Manhattan or takes tokens at a subway. Like there's not a lot of adult skill involved in this job.
No, they have skill. It's different than it was when I started in the field. They get to do a lot of what the dentist did.
I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm impressed or depressed that you're taking up for the dental assistant.
They make
people.
almost as much as I did.
Now?
Now they do so much. They make a really good salary.
Really?
Mhm.
So when I pull into the dentist office and there's a 7 Series BMW and an S-Class Mercedes and then there's a Ford Focus, I shouldn't automatically assume that it's the assistant driving in the employee parking. It could be, they could have an S-Class, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. When you started down this journey of sight and sound in someone's oral hole, when did you, let's keep ourselves, we have to have decorum here. When did PPE, personal protective equipment come into effect, where you're like, wow, rubber gloves, this is awesome. A mask, I got food particles not hitting me in the face. Because I'm sure there were a lot of days in the 70s where you went to lunch and tasted things that you didn't eat for lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like other people's food in your mouth, you're like, this is supposed to be tuna salad and that tasted like lettuce. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I retired the end of 2017.
2017.
And it probably had been in place 5 years, maybe, that in only a couple years that we wore the disposable.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like when did you wear rubber gloves the entire career?
Only when you had a cut on your finger.
What? That's crazy.
You wore either a
Finger condom.
finger cot or
A what?
finger cot.
Finger cot.
Yeah, it's a little
You're
finger-
misspelling condom. It's finger condom.
COT. Look it up.
NDOM.
No.
Okay.
Or you wore rubber gloves if you had a cut on your hand. And you only wore a mask if you had a cold or they had a cold.
You came to work with a cold, working that closely with other people?
Uh-huh.
But when the full face shield,
Probably 2012. It hadn't been, I
it's
didn't
crazy.
I didn't wear those.
It's like surgery in the 1800s. They used to just dip their hands in there and pull out stuff. Everybody died, of course. And, gangrenous and whatnot, didn't wash their hands until Joseph Lister came along and sterilized everything. It's pretty cool. Now, how many dentists have you officially worked for? 3 or 4? Would you count 4, I guess?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, of those 4.
Well, actually 5 because I worked for a team of 2, but. 5
Right, yeah,
places,
right.
5
Okay,
places.
we'll count 5 actual dentists. Of those, was there a clear and a decisive winner of who was the best? Like this he's the Michael Jordan of dentistry.
The last one I worked for.
Really? He's just top to bottom, just badass, right? And was there one that you were like, I don't know how this guy got his DMD? Yes. Oh, all right, well, that didn't take long to answer. Okay, so there is a ranking within dentists. I had a dentist that would I always thought this was weird. Whenever he would come in and check after the hygienist, he would have a little gauze 2x2, and he would wrap up your tongue and move it to the side. And I always thought to myself,
Looking for cancer.
You're
looking for cancer on the side of your tongue.
Okay, I thought he was doing it because he didn't want to touch
my
my
dentist
tongue.
always, the last one I worked for 27 years did.
That's just it's an odd thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any problems with any of your dentists illegally prescribing narcotics to their
No.
customers?
No.
Do you think you would have known about this?
I don't know, because, to come in to check hygiene, you don't do a lot of prescribing in there. If they wanted to do it, it would have been back in the opera.
So it's possible that you could have worked for some, stuff. Hey, chill. So let me ask you this. If you and I went tonight to break into a dentist office, what's the hardest narcotic we could get our hands on? Kind of a drugstore, Matt Dillon
Tylenol
cowboy.
or ibuprofen,
That's it?
penicillin.
Really? Unless we just wanted to numb ourselves and we could inject ourselves.
They don't keep them on hand anymore.
Oh, they take it to the house?
They just don't, because of people breaking in, that none of them stock it. The only thing we would stock is Tylenol, ibuprofen, and like penicillin and
Penicillin?
penicillin and
What do you use
erythromycin.
penicillin for?
Some people that have had like a heart valve replacement have to have an antibiotic before you can do anything to them. So they would have to take a pre-med. If they forgot their pre-med, we would have it in the back, they could take it.
What's a penicillin cost when the dentist charges
No,
it?
almost, but we didn't charge it. We
You
didn't
just
charge
gave it out.
it. Yeah, we kept a prescription for it, so.
You didn't tack that on? Ah, that's weird.
They're not much, they're just in there.
Well, that's not how hospitals look at it.
No.
It'd be a $97 pill, All right, let me ask you this. What is the most painful thing that a dentist can do to you? Like if you had to come in and get something done, what is the most, root canal is what everybody goes to, but I have a feeling there's worse things that could happen to you.
I don't think any of it is particularly painful anymore. The shot is usually the most painful thing, but now they've learned to give those to where they're not so painful.
As you may know, I had one of my teeth pulled without anesthetic one time because I cannot stand. It is one of the worst things on earth. Right up there with shaving and moving, of having, come here, Dummy, of having your mouth numb. It's just beyond, no, I can't stand it. Can't stand the feeling. So I was like, anyway, we could, they were taking teeth out so that I could have more room for my braces for other teeth to come in when I was in, like, I don't know, middle school. And so I opted, still, be cool, man. Sit. You're being a bad studio dog. And so I had a tooth pulled without Novocaine, or whatever it's called. And still to this day, and I've been tased and have my nipples pierced, still top 5 worst pains I've ever felt. That was intense, like really. That brings tears right to your eyes and shuts them right out your face.
The feeling or the shot itself?
No, I had it done without the shot. I had it ripped out. It was slightly loose.
What I'm asking you.
But he had it pulled. But yes, I don't mind the shot. The shot ain't nothing, you know. But that's an intense thing. So we'll take a break. And we'll put the dog up if it's not gonna chill. All right, so with today's modern medicines and numbing and whatnot, there's really nothing that doesn't hurt. It's just some uncomfortableness that really people shouldn't fret or fear about.
Because you can make them totally numb to where there is no pain.
Right.
The shots used to be horrible. When I was growing up, you're not taking this.
Yeah. Are we taping this? Of course we're taping this.
Well, I thought you said that.
No, I said we'll stop if we have to haul her off.
The shots, if you've ever been to a barber or a beautician that has the jar there with the sterilizer and the combs.
Yes, and that's an interesting study. If you ever research that blue fluid, it's interesting.
The shots used to be in one of those. In other words, they didn't have disposable needles.
Right.
They used the same needle on you that they used on me 2 hours later, and they kept them in. Well, the more you give them, and the more you put them in that solution, they get duller and duller.
Sure.
And they used to hurt.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
So now that they went to the disposable things, they're one use, so they're not as dull. Plus, they used to just shoot them in, and the harder they shoot them in faster, the more they hurt. I've gotten painless shots.
So there are people that fear the dentist because of how it used to be, not what it is now. And if they went now, they're like, oh, this isn't so bad, kind of thing, right? Now, you've seen the dams that they put on the. Have you ever seen a female condom?
No.
Well, it looks very similar, from what I can tell, to a dental dam. All right, we'll move on. If you've never seen one, it doesn't really help me. What movie doctor is your favorite dentist of all time? Who's the dentist on the silver screen that you just really looked up to as a young hygienist?
I'm trying to think of who it is on the Carol Burnett.
Carol Burnett? That's TV. We're talking about movies.
Well, I can't think of one.
All right, let me give you some examples. Dr. King Schultz from Django Returns, right? He was...
Nope, don't know that one.
You've never seen Django?
One time, long ago.
Well, then how could you not remember? He won like an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, I think. Anyway, the guy that's with Jamie Foxx helps him.
I don't remember the movie.
Okay. Horrible Bosses, Jennifer Aniston. Oh, one of the funniest movies of all time. And she is smoking hot as like a 62-year-old woman. Does that woman ever get ugly? I submit not. Here's a 2-time. Steve Martin has been one in Novocaine, a pretty good little movie, a little lesser known, where he gets involved in some nefarious prescribing ills and has to burn. I don't want to give it away. It's kind of one of those gotcha movies. It's kind of a Sixth Sense 7 type thing at the end. And he's also one in Little Shop of Horrors. Remember, he's the sadistic. Was he like a biker or something? I haven't seen that in forever. It seems like he's in leather. Anyway, so he's been a dentist twice. I particularly like, although a stupid movie, there's a couple funny scenes. Sinbad, who apparently has some real health problems going on right now. I think he's got dementia or something. I don't know what he's got, but anyway, MS. I don't know what he's dealing with. But and he was with Phil Hartman in some campy little movie where he acts like a dentist, and then he sticks himself in the hand. He puts Novocaine. Is there a Novocaine gel, like a goo, like you can scoop it out like shaving cream or something?
You put that on.
Well, he puts it on his hands, and his hands go numb, and he has to do a dental procedure.
It works.
Well, it's a movie.
But
but it's a funny scene.
the first of all, Novocaine's not, it's not used anymore. It's a
Really?
different drug, but everybody calls it Novocaine, but it's a derivative of it. But the gel is what they put on your gum to make you not feel the needle.
Oh, that's dumb. See, I don't like that. Let's feel it, man. We're living. Let's feel it, Because when we're dying, we're gonna wish we'd have felt these things,
Okay.
Anyway, we also have The Hangover.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, Ed Helms. Remember he took his
Yeah.
tooth out because he didn't have a tooth that came in. It never came, like one of his incisors or something never came in.
Very common.
There's some weird stuff that happened. We'll get into that. So nobody's really. Orson Welles played a dentist in like the 30s in some shorts. Nothing. So really, dentists just don't get their due on the silver screen. I think that's what we're coming up with. Did you know? And I could be wrong about this, but I don't think I am. Willy Wonka's dad was a dentist, and that's what got him into the chocolatier business. You knew that?
I knew that.
Interesting. I didn't. What are top 3 worst smells? And we're talking periodontal
disease is by far the worst.
halitosis. You got nothing on periodontal disease. What does periodontal disease smell like?
If you've never smelled it, it's a very distinct smell that I can go in a store, have somebody wait on me and want to go.
Oh, so you can smell it
Well,
like.
I can smell it. You don't have
And
to.
and what do you ever, as a retired professional, go slip them a note like a bank or
I
anything, be
want
like,
to, believe me,
and
I
be
do.
like, well, don't you have a duty to do care? Don't you have a Hippocratic oath in dentistry where you're there to do no harm and all that kind
If
of crap?
they don't have
Shouldn't
the
you
sense
be?
to go from the pain that they're having.
What if you were a doctor and you walked in and you saw somebody with a gangrenous leg that needed to be, like, you're going to die if you don't get that sorted out today? Don't they have a duty to slip them a little banknote and let them know just in a discreet way?
Yes, I've missed my call.
So your Hippocratic oath, you just said screw it.
I don't have that.
All right. So periodontal disease, does halitosis, is it even in the top 3? No. What else have we got? What else can make your mouth stink that bad?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't? Well, then how do you know halitosis?
Maybe garlic. I mean,
No. What other maladies in the mouth stink?
Well, an infection can smell really bad.
Why would you have an infection in your mouth?
Abscess too.
Oh, that sounds painful. I think that'd be the worst part about being
I
homeless.
have a friend who had one, and I said, "You've got a bad tooth in your mouth. I can smell it."
Really?
Yes.
And are y'all still friends?
Yes.
Did she go, I do declare?
He went to the dentist.
Really?
Had to have the tooth.
And has he felt beholden to you that, like he buys your lunch from here on out kind of thing, or
Yeah.
nothing like that?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we think about big toothpaste and how all the dentists are in bed with these companies? For example, we all know BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street own like 90% of everything in this country these days, and they own everything. We think, if you get away from Crest and AIM and Colgate and all these companies and all, we'll just go use Tom's, right? Because Tom's is safe, and Tom's is owned by Colgate Palmolive, Burt's Bees owned by Clorox. Like the big companies have swallowed up all these things, and you go to the toothpaste aisle and you can't get anything that isn't owned by these major multinational conglomerate companies, right? What do you think about that? Yet all dentists give you a free sample.
I have never thought about it.
Oh, you got to dig into it. There's
So
only.
what do you buy?
You got
What do you buy?
Dr. Squatch, who that's what I've been using for a while for
Never heard of
soap.
it, but
It's an independent soap company. It's
give me
really
some.
get you some. I think it's for men. I don't think you want to smell like breweries, and it's got it's like manly smells. You know what I mean? Anyway, but I'll give you some when we leave. But I think as of like earlier this spring, they're in talks of getting bought out for like a couple $2 billion because they've done so well recently. So they'll probably go the way of that dodo bird as well. But you've got Lenny Kravitz has started a company a little while back called Twice with a couple people he knew that were dentists, and they are family owned still. There's a Canadian, I wrote it down. There's a Canadian company, Living Libations. There's Dr. Bronner. And that's about
I've
it.
heard of that one.
Dr. Bronner. That's
Yeah,
it.
I've heard of that.
So you got 4 choices if you want to go out there as a consumer and not support and vote with your dollar, not support big toothpaste, which I'm making up the concept of big toothpaste, but it is annoying that there's not dentists out there that don't give you, here's your free sample of AIM and here's your Crest toothbrush and all this kind of crap, So yeah. All right, well, moving on. What do you think about this? Dentists have medical training, right? They're technically considered doctors because they have some medical training, but they're
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think of the five you know and all the ones that you've met in your professional life? Do you think that they've got a good job of, like, we're on a plane and somebody's like, this man's dying. Is anyone here a doctor? And somebody stands up and like, DDS, bitch. You know, do you think they've got a good chance of doing anything other than maybe stopping some bleeding as far as saving a life?
Well, we're all certified in CPR.
Well, I'm not talking about CPR. I'm talking about
Well,
like
I'm saying,
occlusive
if
dressings
they're
and
having a heart
sucking chest
attack, we
wounds.
may be able to resuscitate them.
What am I talking about? I'm talking about like occlusive dressings on a sucking chest wound or something like that.
I doubt it.
No, so dentists, they're just going to be like, your gums look a little red. You know, I mean, they're just going to watch you die on the plane, pretty much. I mean, there's not a lot of dentists out there that are really going to do much, right? Is that what we agree? Do you see any of the five you've worked with going, I trust that person to save a life?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm not for a sucking chest wound.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think that dentists compared to doctors, and I have my own opinion here, have better bedside manner, even though it's not a bed, it's like a bed
Right.
chair, have better bedside manner than doctors?
Overall,
May I throw in a wrench?
I would-
Doctors are weird.
I would say overall, yes, because they're trying to convince you, I shouldn't say talk you into, but trying to convince you sometimes to spend a lot of money on something that's
Ooh.
cosmetic
Really?
versus a necessity. So they gotta be nice in that.
So you're saying they got to be good salesmen. I'm just talking about, let's say nothing's wrong, you don't need anything like this. That's like an 8 out of 10, 8.5, I don't know, but those are good teeth, right?
People want a beautiful mouth.
Right, so I don't.
They don't
I-
wanna pay for it.
Right, but I don't need any cosmetic stuff. I just go in every 6 months, get my teeth cleaned, and then the doctor comes in and he's like, "Hey, what's up? How about them Celtics?" You know, whatever. And he's just like a happy-go-lucky dude. That's what I'm talking about. Like in that scheme of things, they're pretty cool. Let doctors go in and they're like, "You have a bleeding ulcer. Take these, and I'll see you in 2 months." You know, they're weird. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have a bleeding ulcer. That's just what popped in my head when I just thought of that. But doctors are very strange people.
They can be.
They mostly are.
I don't go to
And
any
the
that
more
don't have a
special-
good- They don't have a good one.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't
just
have
odd.
somebody to relate to.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, as a whole, dentists are better at communicative processes with other humans than are doctors, correct?
Probably, and a lot of it may be the fact that they're not facing you with something life-threatening too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. What can kill you in the dentist world? What could come in and the dentist has got to be like, give me an ambulance. I mean, what could happen?
Not to that extent, but one of the things that's been proven in the last 15 years is that if you have periodontal disease, for instance.
And that's gum disease, right?
Yes, it's an infection, and it has a direct correlation to heart disease.
Can you have?
Because what's flowing through your mouth
Oh, yeah,
flows
right.
through your heart
Well,
too.
when you have periodontal disease, that means your mandible and your maxical, what was it?
Maximal.
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 Maxilla. You said 3 different words. Yeah, well, you are retired. Well, you let it go. You just escaped all that
Got me on the
nonsense.
wrong
So your maxilla and your mandible, that means every part of your gums are just destroyed. It doesn't mean you got like periodontal, like a dot of it here, right?
If you have periodontal
Like you got psoriasis, you could have a little plotch here, or you could have it everywhere, right?
you can have periodontal disease in areas, not the whole mouth.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what it does is it eats the bone away.
Right.
And the bone is what holds your teeth in your mouth.
All right, when I was in 9th grade, it was the only teacher I had throughout high school. He was my journalism teacher and my English professor, teacher, whatever you call it. And I remember I came home one day and I asked you, I said, this teacher has like coffee stained teeth. And your immediate response, as I recall, was he had a fever when he was a child. And that was the answer that you gave. Like without even thinking about it, that's what you came up with. Do you still stand by that teacher had a fever when he was a child, and that's why his teeth were really clear and you could see through, and there's like a brownish stain in the opaqueness.
One of two things. It's one of two.
Oh, so now you've added something to the theory.
It's either he took tetracycline.
Tetracycline, which is
While
the
his
game with the Russian game where you,
Tetracycline is an antibiotic that they
I
gave.
thought it was the game where you fit all the pieces together.
That's tetras.
Tetris. Okay.
Tetracycline
It means 4 in Russian.
is a antibiotic they used to give young children, and what happened was they realized too late that where the baby teeth are, and the tooth is forming up in your gums, your permanent tooth, it would make marks across it where it had formed to that.
Like strata,
Like-
striations.
Like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing is, if you had a real high fever,
They give me fever.
it would discolor your teeth.
And what do you do when you're that guy and you're 38 years old and your teeth look like you drink too much coffee?
Sometimes you can bleach it out. Some of them will bleach
But
it
not
out.
back then. This is
No,
1991.
but I'm saying as when they're fully formed. Sometimes you can bleach them, sometimes you can put veneers or something on them, you know.
Are you familiar with the band Aerosmith?
Yes.
I loathe them. I don't know what your
I
feelings are.
don't have much feeling about them.
Good.
I know who they are.
All right. Can you name 7 of their albums?
No.
Okay. So I don't like Aerosmith, but I do remember sometime around high school, Joe Perry, the guitarist, was he was the first person that I ever heard of that had a, I don't know what the hell it was, a diamond or something, instudded, I don't know if that's a word, implanted, I guess,
Yeah.
into his tooth. And I remember asking you about that, and you said that you were familiar with that kind of cosmetic stuff, although it was rare at the time. What do you feel about putting gemstones into your teeth?
Stupid.
Stupid aesthetically, or
you've got to drill a hole.
oh, you got to drill a hole.
So that means
that's
you're going to kill the tooth.
Yeah. And how do you not turn it black?
It can be, and you know, but
That's
you
not a
can,
good
you
look.
can bleach it.
God bless. And what do you
Or it could be a crown
right?
or a veneer that it's made onto
Yeah,
that.
but he wasn't. I don't think he had it like stuck in his tooth. I don't know if he still has that today. I don't think he has black teeth, but when you're making that much money, they could come in and all that. Are you pro or con veneers? Pro. Even these people that like have smoked meth their whole life and then go have their entire mouth, all their teeth taken out, and then just implants and all that crap, and they look like some kind of cartoon character because their teeth are like this big. They look like Matt Dillon and There's Something About Mary. You know what I mean? Remember how big his teeth are? He's got where are we going with this?
I'm not talking about somebody who's purposely ruined their teeth.
Right.
If you have a problem with your teeth, veneers are a good way to go.
But they're very expensive.
Extremely expensive.
Yeah, and don't they eventually break and you got to get new ones after like
They
15
can,
years?
But I know people that have had them for 15 plus years, 20 years.
See,
now.
here's what I don't respect about it. I don't respect the celebrities that if you go, like Johnny Depp, I think is one of them. Well, no, I think he's a bad example because he
Yeah,
smokes so
obviously.
much, his teeth are bad.
Yeah,
Like if you
they're-
see
they're
close,
bad.
there's somebody else. Anyway, maybe it's Robert Downey Jr. I don't know who I'm thinking about, but there's somebody who, if you go back and look at his teeth in the 80s, which a lot of them are like this, you're like, those teeth are completely different. And he's gotten a completely new set of teeth. And of course, they've been done well enough that the layperson can't tell, you know, and all. But I can't get behind that. You know what I mean?
See, I can tell a lot of people that if you have somebody that's really, really good at doing veneers or crowns, like I'm talking anterior
Right.
right there. I've seen people on news shows and stuff, and it's like,
Sure,
oh my God,
sure.
they're horse teeth.
They're Matt Dillon.
But they don't look natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's one particular person on a news show that I watch that I was asking a friend of mine who's a dentist.
Like a
about,
local news show?
like a national news.
Do you want to throw their name out?
No,
Why?
because I like the show. I just don't.
I don't think they're going to
to
watch this.
Not mentioning the name. Anyway, I asked a friend of mine.
It's
who's a
Lester
dentist,
Holt. It's Lester
And
Holt,
I
isn't
said,
it?
what do you think of her teeth? I said, they look like I know they're crowns, but they're too fat, like she couldn't quite close her mouth. It looks like she's constantly trying to close her lips. He said, oh, they're too thick. They don't look natural.
Right, they don't
She
like the
probably
lip
paid a
to-
blooming fortune for
Oh,
those.
I'm sure. So let me ask you this. If the president came to you, well, not the current president because he's probably napping, but let's say it's 1996 and Bill Clinton calls you up and he's like, hey, right, and the planet has to be saved. It's kind of like some kind of Armageddon scenario, right? And he's called you up, and for whatever reason, the only way to save the United States is that we've got to have a top-notch army of tooth cleaners, and we need like a dozen, kind of like Armageddon. Didn't Armageddon, they sent like a crack team of people that can drill into bedrock. Bruce Willis's, like, because they were drilling people. I think that in Armageddon, they were like drilling into oil rigs out in the ocean or something, and he's like, yo, y'all can run a drill. I need you to go to Mars and save the planet, whatever. So this happens with dental hygienists, and for whatever reason, we've gotten us into some weird scenario by which we need a dozen crack hygienist, do you think that you would measure up back in 2017, the peak of your game? Do you think you could? What percentile good were you in like comparison to the rest of the country's hygienist population? Like when you went to these little what do you call them, like expos and training seminars and all this, you look around the room, you're like, bunch of raggedy ass bitches, y'all couldn't hold my job. Like, is that how you felt? Or were you like, God, I wish I could be as good as Sarah. She's such an awesome hygienist. Like, where do you feel you fit?
I thought it was okay. I mean, pretty good.
Okay, is that enough? We need to save the planet.
I thought it was pretty good, but I mean, I don't know what percentage I was.
Well, yes. Like, for example, I've said many times, I am a 77% good-looking guy, right? If you lined up all the men in America, from the ugliest dude to the best-looking Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt-looking dude, I'd be in like the 77th percentile. 80% best hygienist in the country. Okay, I like the moxie. I'm not
gonna say I'm the best.
I didn't say you were the best, but if you feel like you're the best, then you're the best, right? I mean, I got 22% of people I gotta get better looking than to get to be the best. So I mean, that's, you're the best around, and nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Little Karate Kid for you right there. Maybe you hum that later on. Stuck in here. All right, so let's go over these couple things, and I want you to tell me if I want to come out of school and I want to make the most money I can make, what do I get into? Periodontist, that's a gum person, right? Just does gum surgery, right? Then you got an endodontist, which is root canals, and then you got a prosthodontist, and that's just somebody that makes fake teeth all day long, right?
Replaces missing teeth.
Replaces missing, okay. Then you got an oromaxillofacial, which is that's jaw surgery.
Jaw surgery, pulling wisdom teeth.
Oh, wisdom teeth is a maxillofacial guy. Okay. And then you got an orthodontist.
They do bone grafts, that kind of stuff.
That's got to be
I
horrible.
had one of those.
No, I'm talking about the recovery's got to suck. All right, well, fair enough. And then orthodontist is your braces and your retainers and all that crap.
All
and then,
those
of course,
make good money.
right, but then you got the dentist, right? Now, all of those are smoking the dentist, right? Even the orthodontist. Like, they're making like 400,000 and the dentist is in the 200s.
Oh, no, it's not.
I mean, roughly. I mean, they're not doubling it. So who's the big dog at the conference? Who's like, oh, that's Jimmy.
I don't
That's
know.
Jimmy.
Because I can't tell you
Plygard
what each one of them makes.
Yeah, but
I just know they make.
Well, I mean, you know that like a neuroscience or a neurosurgeon makes more, and a cardiovascular guy makes more than an ENT or a podiatrist. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're messing with the scrotum, you're making more money than the toe, right?
I would say the orthodontist, probably.
Really? Just because there's so much markup on that crap.
Well, because you got to consider they're going to charge you $3,000 or $4,000 per person to do braces, and they have a office set up with 8 chairs.
Just chuck it. Yeah, right.
Six assistants, then they've got one filling every chair
Yeah,
every 10 minutes or something like that. It's not a racket.
It's a buffet. It's a buffet.
But they're flying more people in and out, and they're charging you each one like $100 a month copay.
Sure.
So I would think they probably would be.
If their practice is rocking at full cylinders. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's orthodontists that have one assistant and they just deal with it as it is, right?
I don't know of anybody.
Right. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So do you remember the scenario where George Costanza and Susan they're getting their fiance, right? And George takes his parents, Estelle and Frank, to dinner with Susan's parents, and they're all sitting in there, and all of a sudden, George's dad goes, so you got the rooster, the hen, and the chicken. The rooster has sex with the hen. Who's having sex with the chicken? And then the dad, Susan's dad's like, they're all chickens. The rooster has sex with both of them. And then Frank goes, that's just reverse, or something like that, right? We have, I know you can tell, you know where I'm going with this, calculus, plaque, and tartar. And plaque and tartar are the same thing. Which one's the hen and which one's the rooster?
Calculus and tartar are the hard stuff.
But they're the same?
They're the same.
So it's just a different...
Layman's term.
Oh.
People don't know calculus.
We call it tartar in the layman world, and then y'all pros at the conference, y'all calling it calculus. Now, you've seen calculus deposits where like the inside of their mouth is like one big yellow tooth, right? How hard is that stuff to chisel out? And how bad does that smell?
Well, you're probably looking at periodontists here again.
I would imagine.
but.
God, I can imagine.
You get the Cavitron, and you just have to keep going over it till you get a break in.
And you get,
then
and
you
how
get a
it's
big
like,
chunk.
it's kind of like when you dig a hole, and or like you're digging up a tree, and you're digging up the stump, and it just won't move because you got to dig so much around it, and then finally that thing breaks, and you're like, oh, I can tie a strap to it and dig it out. It's kind of like that. When that thing finally breaks, scale of 1 to 10, how orgasmic is that feeling of success?
I wouldn't call it orgasmic.
I called it orgasmic.
You could call it that.
I just did.
It's pretty good. You know, some of it, you can have somebody with the sheet all the way around.
The sheet? That's what it's.
No, that's what I call it. The
You just
sheet.
making up words for yourself?
Solid sheet. I mean, there's no break in it.
That's
All the way
bullshit.
around.
Okay.
And you can get the Cavitron, and sometimes you can get a little crevice done, and you know, quarter of it will break off in one sheet, and then again, you'll have some that you just go back and forth and back.
So
and
it's
forth,
scraping your
back and
ice,
forth.
ice
When
off
I
your
have
windshield.
somebody that bad, I would get an hour to work on 1/4 of the mouth.
Good. And the whole time it just stinks like hot garbage and just bad, right? Now, do these people, are they like, sorry about our smell? I mean, are they apologetic at all? They don't even know. So they can't smell.
Well,
Because your nose is pointed at your mouth hole, right? And the air comes out of your mouth hole. You would think that your nose would be like, I think I got periodontal disease and a sheet of plaque, right? Nothing.
Like, have you never been around anybody that had body odor?
Oh, yeah.
They don't know. They're just like
Yeah.
oblivious to it.
Right.
Same thing.
I was
They get so used
I
to
was
it.
on a church trip to Carowinds one time, and I'll say his damn name right now. I went to school with him, Will Walker. Okay, and we're in the back of the van. We've been at Carowinds all day, and Will Walker, let's just say he hit puberty a little earlier than us. We're all in like 5th grade, you know, and somebody stinks like a bag of ass, and we determined very quickly this is Will Walker because he's the only one that's got hair under his arms at this point. You know, he grew a little faster than everybody else. And he denied it, and we're all like, bitch, it's you. You got the periodontal disease under your arms, you know. I will remember that. But that was probably my earliest version of knowing, like, God bless, wait, is that what happens when you don't wear deodorant? This is disgusting. Anyway, go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
just like
that is
body odor.
weird. Well, he knew it.
They're so
He
used
knew
to
it because he denied it. That's right. And I got my 30th anniversary. It's not an anniversary. What is it? It's a reunion. And if he shows up, we're going to discuss this. I'm going to send him the link to this, and we'll discuss how smelly he made that Dodge Ram 1500
Why
van
don't you
smell.
buy him some of that Sasquatch?
Well, I'm sure he's probably worked out his problems by this point as well. All right, my next question is, do you know what a nurdle is?
No.
Nurdle.
No.
This, you remember Sniglets? From not necessarily the news in the 80s. And I don't think this is a sniglet. I think it's a real word. A nurdle is a blob of toothpaste that you put on a toothbrush. How do you work for 42 years, you don't know what a nurdle is? And I know it. I'm just a layman.
How long have you known it?
Since about 2 hours ago when I was researching for this interview.
I've never done it.
All right, fair enough. Do you agree with the introduction of fluoride into our water system, both in the United States and Canada?
Not particularly.
Me neither. I don't like that.
I don't like chemicals.
I don't like it either. And fluoride can make some nasty things.
Over-fluoride.
That's what I'm saying.
Very serious.
Yes, and it's more than just like stuffy nose diarrhea. Like there's some bad things that come from over-fluoridization, over-fluoriding, whatever the word is, doing that, as opposed to the benefits of, they talk about how it has impacted our populace so much that, it's stopped us from having all these tooth decay and whatnot. And I'm like, I think I'd rather just have a country of tooth decay than put fluoride, I keep saying fluoride in our water. So you're against fluoride. Do you think that the dental industry is against fluoride?
The philosophy about fluoride is there's 2 different methods. What they put in the water benefits children who have forming teeth.
Correct.
It doesn't benefit you.
Right.
But the toothpaste benefits the teeth that are already in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the difference. That's the reason they did it in the water was especially to help the children. But
it's all about
you
the
gotta
children. Michael Jackson taught us that.
But you have to be
Whitney
careful because there's, as babies, and I don't know if they do it anymore. It's been a long time since I had a baby, but
Yeah, tell me about that.
they would give you.
How long has it been since you've had a baby?
48 years.
What?
48 years.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right.
But we gave you drops.
Right.
The dentist would give the pediatrician gave you vitamins.
I
that
can't
have
get behind
fluoride in
this. I can't get behind this at
And
all.
I did it for a couple of years, and, but that was this before they had then they said, the fluoride's in the water, don't give them the
It's
drops.
kind of like what they're, I have a friend who's currently at a conference, and what they are learning, and she works in the pharmaceutical industry, what they are learning about this week in particular about the effects that these COVID shots have had on the population. She said it's downright scary what's going to come out in the next few years of all the stuff that they thought they knew, or they knew and they didn't care, whatever, I've always wondered if like the head of Procter and Gamble or the head of Tyson Chicken actually eats their products and all, or do they go completely organic and
They're
they
vegetarian.
right. They're just like, I got farm raised chickens that I can see out of my backyard or out my back window and all. All right, so here I'm going to talk about the 4 horsemen of teeth real quick. And there's 4 horsemen. There's 8 horsemen, right? A couple of them repeat. You got the bicuspid, the incisor, the cuspid, and the molar. And over here in this corner, you've got the incisor, the canine, the premolar, and the molar. Why do we have 2?
Bicuspid and premolar, the same thing.
Right, but and cuspid is the same as or an incisor is the same as a canine. There's like, why do we got 4 different names?
Canine,
Is it incisor?
eye-tooth, incisor.
Why we got so many names for the same damn thing?
I don't know.
Is this like calculus and target?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like that. My last question regards things that you can do, and this goes out to the parents and that are listening. Did you just wave to the parents? They may not even be watching this. What do you think is some of the worst things you can do as a parent? For example, I'll give you a couple. Sucking your thumb, and I know someone who is in their 40s and just recently stopped sucking their fingers, at least in public. Weird, There's some weird, like, mama issue type. I don't know what that is, but, I'm sure Freud could delve into that. But sucking your thumb for years and long periods of time, going to bed with one of those little sucker things, what they call it? A pacifier in your mouth. What are some other things that parents should probably shy away from so as not to deform the development of it's not just your teeth, but also like your gum line. Like you can change
that's what the thumb does. The thumb changes the palate.
The palate, yes.
Now,
and we're not talking about wooden crates that we stack stuff on in a factory. We're talking about the blunt.
But in that respect, the children that suck their thumb, if a child needs to do it just to get to sleep and it falls out, it's
right, that's not what we're talking about.
It's the kids that you can go in there in the middle of the night and pull it out and it goes pop.
Right.
Then they're damaging the palate.
Right.
And then you've got to have orthodontia to get things back where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how long they do it to how much damage it really does.
Yeah. So both
pacifier,
of my kids.
the nice thing about that is you can take that away.
Yeah.
But then you see people out in stores that got 4 and 5-year-olds.
Yeah, they got it clipped to their shirt. Look like a bunch of pussy children. Neither one of my kids, like we took that thing away, and they did not suck their thumbs or fingers or anything like that. That would have been like, that's a good way to get punched in the face, like as softly as you can punch a child, legally speaking. Okay, well, are there any other things that you'd like to talk to the parents about as far as things, don't do this, it's not worth it because it's going to be more costly in the end and their face is going to look weird? Anything?
Can't think of anything.
Can't think of anything. Okay. All right, well, I guess that ends our second episode of Sausage Talk. It was mildly painless, unlike a bruxism or a diastema surgery or.
You didn't get into all that.
Yeah, I had a lot. Well, maybe we'll do a future sausage talk where we do phase 2 of all the things. Because there's a lot of. I'm gonna tell you what. You can go down a huge rabbit hole with all the things that can go wrong with the mouth, like things that can develop improperly and birth defects, and there's some crazy stuff that goes with the mouth. So.
I've been 42 years. I only found one mouth cancer.
Oh, you saved somebody's life?
Okay.
Tell me about it. We'll end on a positive note.
I found a thing of mouth cancer and got the doctor. Look at this, and he said that's exactly biopsied, and it was.
Was he a smoker or an oral?
He was a pipe smoker.
Oh, I love a good pipe. I like cherry.
I don't even know anybody smokes a pipe.
I like a cherry tobacco. I just
smells good.
Yeah, that's what obviously. Do you think that if they made pipe tobacco smell like periodontal disease, people would still smoke it?
No.
Probably not. All right. Well, y'all have a great one. Giddy.
Not right.
It didn't stop.